You are watching Everything Nicaragua, brought to you from our beautiful production studio right here in Costamar beachfront condos, Hacienda, Iguana, Nicaragua, and I have my friend Derek Thomas.
Hello, good to be here.
Yes, it is, man. I'm stoked that you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Derek is, well, I don't know the right term for it, but like avid surfer.
For sure, lifelong surfer since I was about 6, yeah.
Yeah.
My mom's boyfriend was a kneeboarder and he started taking me out.
Yeah.
About 6. Started surfing at like 12.
So I've seen pictures of you surfing all over on massive waves, basically.
Yeah, like I think in the last 5 years I've had the opportunity to travel quite a bit throughout Indonesia and the Maldives and work with some like remote exclusive surf resorts, and so it's been pretty good. Get to surf some good uncrowded waves. And sometimes there's some great photographers around, and especially here too, getting some it's just such a great opportunity living here in Nicaragua and Hacienda, Iguana, you know, being able to surf out front and then have a couple friends who are such talented photographers shooting pictures of you too. It's great.
Yeah, I love seeing the different shots from each of them because I've kind of got to know their styles, the photographers.
Right.
You know, when there's a little bit of like tree or something, it's Donde X, you know, with you in the background there. And then one of my favorites, I'll put it up behind us, is that moonlight one. Which one I'm talking about?
Right, yeah, I think that was Brian.
Yeah.
One of Brian's shots, yeah.
That was a sweet one. Then I just saw another one totally in the tube.
The last week it was pretty solid barrels.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what you're here to talk about, I just wanted to talk about the surfing because I'm an admirer of those who can go in those waves and ride them. But we're going to talk about some breathing.
Okay.
And I would think that it's very important in surfing to be able to breathe and hold your breath when things don't go as planned. So maybe we could talk a little bit about like what you do with your breathing and a bit about how that goes with surfing.
Sure. Definitely breathing is a big part of surfing, being underwater and holding your breath and wiping out and being able to handle either long hold downs or, you know, when you're paddling out and there's a bunch of waves coming in and you've got a lot of energy inside your body and you're paddling and there's a lot of different things that are going on. So like mentally and physically in the water related to breathing, the mental and the physical aspects are kind of at play. And the same thing when you're outside of the water, you have, you know, your emotions and your thoughts, which are connected to like your autonomic nervous system. So your breathing, the rate and depth at which you breathe is connected to the things that you're thinking, the emotions you're feeling. So when you're in the water and there's like huge sets coming in and you're paddling out and you're super amped, you're basically, depending on how you're breathing and how you're feeling, you could be very much limiting your ability to go underwater and hold your breath for a certain amount of time. Mm-hmm. So, and again, same with when you're on the land, depending on, not related to holding your breath, but related to just how you feel and your sense of well-being tied into the concert relationship between your breath and your thoughts and your emotions.
Right. Yeah. So kind of controlling your physical state a little bit through. Is it staying calm when you know the?
Yeah. So in staying calm, and then if you can, there's certain ways you can breathe to help stay calm. You know, like one thing might be when you're paddling out and there's a lot of sets coming in. I always recommend people to try just breathing in and out through your nose, because a lot of times people are breathing heavy through their mouth when they're doing that, and that's increasing their carbon dioxide levels already before they even go to hold their breath, which is what ends up making you feel like you need to take a breath because your carbon dioxide levels are building up. So even trying to just breathe in and out through your nose during an intense situation when you're paddling out or something like that can be helpful.
Let's talk a little bit about breathing outside of surfing, because I've seen you do it. And
I'll breathe.
But I've seen you really do it where I'm like, is he okay? That's my question. And definitely you are. So could you talk to me a little bit about that, like the repetitions that you're doing? Or
breathwork is something that I've been kind of sharing with other people for about 4 years or so, and something that I got into a good long while ago, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago. And I've been sharing some breathwork meditation courses on some of my retreats and in different places. But really it's about being able to, again, tap into the ability to let go of just to create a pause in your thoughts and your emotions and connect with breath through just creating some silence. And there's like a twofold, it's in all the Eastern arts, there's a kind of like a twofold thing that's happening. You're practicing like in yoga or Tai Chi or Qigong or meditation. Your meditation's a little different, but you're practicing two things that are happening really. You are, for example, yoga, like you're working on your balance and you're so focused on your balance and you're getting that dexterity and the longevity and the great benefits of doing these physical poses and stuff for your body physiologically. But when you walk out of a yoga class, you feel so great and you're kind of reset for a couple days. And it's not just because of the stretching, and this goes with any Eastern arts, it's because of the one pointed focus that has your mind not wandering and not thinking about a lot of different things, which is the most common thing. You know, we're always kind of jumping around our thoughts. So an hour-long period of one point of focus, which is like a mantra, is going to really have its effect on your quality of, you know, ability to relax, ability to kind of look at situations differently, recognize your thoughts. So we, through breathwork, it is a combination as well of the physiological benefits of what's happening when you're breathing, and then the mental or psychological elements and how they're tied together, just like I was talking about earlier with our thoughts and our breath. So I kind of created something where I'll just guide a completely guided experience where because I had experienced a lot of different breath work over the years, and I never really, very rarely was it ever guided all the way through in a certain way. So yeah, I just kind of share what I do at home and allow people to give them the opportunity to kind of tap out for a while, even people who haven't experienced meditation and breathwork before. And it can be a pretty powerful thing.
And what's like, say when you're talking about breath work, what's I don't mean to say a short routine, but the minimal kind of routine where you're going to get some benefit from doing it?
I mean, even just 5 minutes would have benefit.
5 minutes?
Yeah, even 5, like especially right when you wake up in the morning, when you're very relaxed, you know, your heart rate's slow, your whole system's chill. And you were to do some breathing while you're just lying in bed, right when your eyes open, and you're breathing in through the mouth and through the nose, and either out through the nose or out through the mouth, and just maybe focusing on one thing, like and maybe a positive vibe for the day or emotion, you know, and taking some nice relaxing breaths can really set your day off well, you know, or a deeper. Some deeper breathing patterns to be a little bit more intense. But when you wake up is a good time to do a short one.
Could you give me a little bit of an example on, like, say I just woke up,
yeah,
and I'm thinking about maybe, you know, I'm grateful that I got another day. You know, I got another day. That's a good thing for me. So at that point I'm thinking that, and I'm laying in my bed, I'm breathing in and out my nose. Is there like a speed I should be doing? What?
Well, you probably, what you want to do is when you open your eyes and then you come to the awareness that you've woken up, and you go ahead and just relax, close your eyes, begin breathing in through your nose and probably out through your nose, and a few breaths like this, maybe 10 breaths like this. You don't want to do this too long because you'll fall back asleep. Mm-hmm. It's very relaxing, puts you in the parasympathetic state. So the breathing is we're slowly going to engage into our breaths. So about 10 breaths through the nose, in and out, just not too long. Mm-hmm. And then begin breathing slightly deeper, maybe at like an 80-85% capacity. Like the nose breaths might be just your natural breathing. Mm-hmm. Okay, waking up. And then slightly deeper, like an 80% depth, nice, good. And then releasing through the mouth. And then breathing in through the nose and releasing through the mouth. And being aware of the points in which you have completely inhaled, and then letting go. And then once you have let go, you breathe and bringing it back. So bringing your awareness to your breath, to the point you've exhaled completely, and bringing it back in, and doing a few, you don't want to time it, you don't want to think too much, you want to be, relax. And again, you can kind of think about just something positive you want to bring into the day, be grateful, or letting go of something, whatever works, whatever's going on for you at that point. And and then you can add some holds to it too, and exhale, and then just hold your exhale, like stay in an exhaled state for a little bit. Stay out. So you exhale and
I was
stay
natural.
out.
I was just holding it in, going like, "Is this what I'm supposed to do?" I don't know.
Right. You think inhaling and holding it, but it's actually in the exhale.
Exhale.
So you're not bringing in any additional oxygen. You've kind of pressurized a little bit of the oxygen within your body, and then you're exhaling, and then you're holding, and it's creating like vasodilation, allowing your cells to take the pressurized oxygen that you have in your body that you've generated from breathing, and then flush it throughout your body,
Yeah. So actually, when my breath goes out, that's when the oxygen's going in. Is that?
The oxygen is like pressurizing.
Yeah.
And then as you exhale and you remain in the exhaled state, it is beginning to be released with a greater vasodilation of your blood vessels opening and the muscles thickening, so that you can actually absorb a lot of this oxygen that you've just kind of pressurized.
Okay.
And that has to do with carbon dioxide also building up in your system, which will cause you to want to take a breath. And then you can take an inhale and hold the inhale. And if you hold the inhale for a good while, until you really feel that need to exhale, then you're going to exhale kind of a little bit more powerfully, and then you just really start breathing in and out into a little bit more of a rhythm and a little groove. So maybe 5-10 minutes of that in the morning can be pretty good.
Set your day off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what about if somebody wanted to take this, a step further? How do they get a hold of you? Do you have workshops going on? What does a workshop look like? That sort of thing.
I've got some retreats that I'm doing with the company called Saltwater Surf that I started, just like holistic surf retreats with meditation and breathwork and yoga, and some like hot cold hydrotherapy stuff. And I think you can go to saltwatersurf.com, go to Derek Thomas Official on Instagram. But really, what I think is important related to breath work, and something that is extremely valuable that is sometimes overlooked for more of the physical benefits or the timing yourself for holding your breath, and the science of it, is the spiritual element of what's happening when through doing like an hour-long session, say, maybe a couple times a week or once a day, and then the act of kind of coming back to breath throughout the day, like finding a few points in which you, say every time you open your car door, if you live in the city or something, or every time you open the fridge, or a couple points throughout the day, and then you kind of come back to your breath and take a few just relaxed breaths. It brings an awareness to like where your thoughts were at, because we're always somewhere, in our subconscious. So just following your breath and coming back to it throughout the day can be extremely powerful. And even in doing any kind of breath work, somatic breath work, neurotropic breath work, holotropic breath work, there's so many different ones now that are super popular, and it's great. It's great that we breathe at about 40 to 60% of our body's capacity, and oxygen is responsible for almost 80% of detoxification in our bloodstream, cognitive thinking, cellular respiration, like our body's ability to create energy from food. So breathing is just like such a key component. You could forego so many different supplements and vitamins if we were to actually
bring our breathing up to a higher percentage.
Yeah, to a higher percentage, exactly. And then do some breathing exercises where we lean into it, find an edge, and slowly increase our ability to kind of take in, and breathing, diaphragmatic from a certain area, a certain quality of breath. But what the longer extended breath workshops that I share, besides the physical benefits, it's about creating an awareness of just creating that long space, that pause, and then the physiological things that happen to our body while we're doing the breath work, tingling, the feeling of being extremely light, extremely heavy, the sensations that we're feeling physically, and then emotionally the things we experience. They draw our focus to them like a mantra, actually, and so we're not thinking about a lot of things. So that, again, that extended period of the breath work physically and mentally, they compound on one another, and then it's just extremely beneficial for really like your life's, the trajectory of someone's life, for making lasting change. It's not, a lot of people think it's about going out and doing and getting things done to create change, to create the life that you want. And really it's about what's going on inside and your ability to recognize kind of your, what's called like a perception filter, or how you experience your reality, because self-awareness, manifestation, and these things that we hear about a lot are really about being able to be in an experience and realize how you would normally act, but react by choice in a different way. And by slowing our thoughts down, by doing meditation and yoga and the Eastern arts, we start to be more familiar with our thoughts. Mm-hmm. And we start to realize that we have choices and situations, and these are what actually create a change in our lives, not just moving somewhere or achieving a goal, because our emotions are very much a drug. They're very much an addiction. Even if we don't know, we compulsively feel certain emotions. Everybody has their own that they feel, and people literally take drugs to feel different emotions, right? So if we can become aware of our thoughts, aware of our, and empower ourselves physically through breath, and charge ourselves up, and it's just a double win, and it can have just lasting effects. I do retreats with an institute in Arizona, and I've had some amazing results over the years. So it's just it's surprising that breathing can.
Yeah, and it seems almost so simple. Like you're born and you breathe, you know, and then maybe we forget how to, and become in that state of reactive rather than responsive. And usually I'm a reactive guy. I bet you if we went through why did Tony react that way, you could backtrack his iPhone watch and it would be like, dude, your breathing was pretty bad.
Yeah, your breathing is reacting to that, Mm-hmm. So literally, if you can flip it and do, focus and be aware of your breath, mm-hmm. breathe yourself into more of a conscious awareness presence, because that moment that you're talking about being in is the only moment that's going to potentially direct you into your future. And so however you are in that situation, if you're of your always state of mind, then you're going to react exactly as you always would, you know. But if you have some emotional intelligence and awareness of your, normally I would totally, get super bummed right now or do this, or normally I would just get super angry, but I think I'm going to handle this in a different way. And you slowly change that then everything starts changing around you. Then you realize, I think when we're so young, we want to define ourselves because we want to have an identity. So in our youth, maybe we see a movie, maybe we have some arbitrary experience, and we just get, we just want to define who we are so much. And then that kind of comes embedded in us, and then it kind of feels good to know who you are. And I think that people who are kind of on a spiritual path or on a path of awareness and change realize that it is about kind of undefining yourself and the limitations, or just the way that you perceive your situations and who you are, so that you can open up to potential change.
I love the undefine yourself, being able to have that pause in that moment to say, this is what I would normally do. Is that the best thing to do?
Yeah.
And that's, I think you got to be in a pretty good state to be in charge.
You do. It takes a little bit of time, but it's actually really easy, and that's one of the things I just love to share is really digestible ways for people to begin to do this with no experience at all. You know? Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was super interesting, and I'm sure there's so much more to go on that. So if you're like quite conscious of breathing, cool thing to think that I can be conscious of my breathing all the time. So thank you for that, Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you to Wi-Fi Nick for helping us make this program happen. And thank you to Agua Roca, water, a very important part. Breathing and water, both of those are very important. And then last but not least, Prima Evo. You know, great food is also important for having a great life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's everything for Everything Nicaragua. Thank you so much.
Thank you, T.
All right.